Admit. That's not it.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Trying to get myself. The camera doesn't want to stay straight.
Oof, I hate when that happens.
That's better. All right.
Yeah, that's good. How's your Friday going?
It's going. It's good. It's better than a couple days ago it was.
Oh, yeah, I remember. You told me what happened. Yeah, those
Yeah.
things happen. Now, was it raining where you were? Like, you're from Chicago, right?
Yeah. We had some tornado warnings and some hit in the little suburb that I am in. We're fine. We didn't get any damage, but we didn't have power for a good 18 hours.
That sucks. That sucks. Listen, it's raining now, right now where I am in Georgia. I was like, well, listen, it was broad daylight first, but
Yeah.
then it got all dark, and now it's like raining. So,
Yep.
and guess what? I had to turn on this little light because it was getting dark in here. So,
Yeah.
just want to make sure this is on. Can you see me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just making sure. But yeah, then I just took a break. Thing is, I just interviewed another person earlier today, so you're my second person today. It was another voice actor that I interviewed earlier.
Oh, nice.
She's very sweet and she's a Disney gremlin.
Perfect.
She's in Texas now. But yeah, afterwards I went to go try out the new Cold Stone Creamery that opened up in my place.
Oh, yeah, we've got a couple. I lived in Nashville for a little while, and I actually worked at one down in Nashville for a few months just to make some extra money here.
There you go. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I got time. Let's take a little ice cream break right quick.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but now I'm back here talking to you. Yay!
Perfect.
So, well, if the small talk is over, I guess we can go ahead and get this thing underway, shall we?
All right.
So, greetings, everybody. This is Phil, host of the Conversation Podcast. I'm glad it's Friday. It's the end of the week, so week's over. I have a special guest here with me today. Introduce yourself. Who's Mermaid Emily I'm speaking to?
Yes, I am Mermaid Emily. Also, Emily Easterly. I live in the Chicago suburbs. I'm also known as the Juliet Mermaid. I have a few fairy characters as well. But yeah, I own Windy City Mermaids, which is a mermaid and fairy and siren entertainment company here in the area. And we're also kind of expanding beyond Chicago. So there's going to be more to come with that too.
Wow, that sounds exciting.
Yes.
I might need to check out Chicago one of those days. How is it over
It's
there?
it's fun. It is a beautiful city. I kind of gradually made my way north here. I'm not originally from Chicago. I grew up down in Florida, but I was born in Michigan. So I've been a little bit of everywhere. But I kind of gradually made my way up here. I went to school up here, and then I just I stayed here because I love the city. It's gorgeous. There's a lot of history. The people are great. The food especially is really good here. So it's great.
Okay. Well, shoot, I might need to go check it out.
Mhm.
So now, before we get into the main thing, let's start with a little bit of an icebreaker.
Mhm.
So, what's one mermaid outfit that you haven't done yet, but you would really like to do?
Oh gosh. I am very much a little bit of everything. So, I have things that are kind of based on realistic fish. I have more fantasy, girly colors, natural colors. I think one thing I would really like to do is more on even the spooky side or the siren-y side. Like I have some spooky stuff, but Creature Fins in particular, she does full head to toe or head to fluke silicone. It's multiple pieces because like you need to be able to release yourself out in case of an emergency. So it's a tail, a bodysuit, gloves, a face mask. It's really intense, and she is an amazing artist, and I would absolutely love to get to swim in one of those pieces someday.
Hmm. Well, shoot, I'm looking forward to it. I want to
Mhm.
check it out. Listen, when y'all do amazing stuff, I just want to check it out.
Yes, yes, Creature Fins.
There you go. Well, now that the ice is broken, I guess we can go on to the main event. So, there's 20 questions, but we're gonna put them in two parts, okay?
Okay.
Just keep it flowing. So, this is gonna be our first two-part question, okay?
Mhm.
Now, for those who are just discovering you, who is Mermaid Emily both in and out of water? Part two, what inspired you to become a mermaid performer?
All right, so I'm gonna answer those questions in reverse.
Okay.
I like I mentioned, I grew up down in Florida. So I was very young when The Little Mermaid first came out. So it came out in '89. I was 5 at the time. So I was that prime age of The Little Mermaid's target audience for sure. Um, hey Raven, you get my doll? You know the plastic with the pink hair? It's on the mantle. Yeah. Uh, Someone's gonna get something for me. But so my grandparents took me to Weeki Wachee Springs, which, if you're not familiar, it's down in Florida. It's a mermaid themed theme park. It's not like roller coasters and things. It's natural. So they have an underground theater. If you watch the Netflix documentary Mer People, they kind of go in to a little bit about Weeki Wachee Springs because it's kind of like the American kind of origin of mermaiding in general. But they have the underwater theater. And so my grandparents took me there when I was probably about 7 or 8, the other one. And so it has a purple tail and it's plastic. And lost a little bit there, but it took me there when I was little. I loved it, but I was old enough to know that those weren't real mermaids. They were people in costumes. And I knew then that that was something that I wanted to do. It just took a while to make it happen. Because, like, as I grew up, like, I had this notion of making things practical. I'm like, it's not, and like as I grew up and became a young adult and early adulthood, the only tails that were available were really like silicone, and those are very expensive tails. And like having something like that um, just wasn't practical. Like, where am I going to swim with this? I don't know. And like as I moved my way back north, like I was in North Carolina for a little bit, I was in Nashville for little bit, and these are kind of landlocked areas. They don't have a lot of like beaches and places to swim, and I wasn't as familiar with swimming in public pools. It wasn't something that I grew up doing. Um, so I couldn't make it practical. And then eventually I came up here and then I'm like, oh, it's cold. In Chicago. We got Lake Michigan, but it's cold. Um, so it was hard for me to make it practical. And then I was very jealous watching a group of mermaids down in Florida called the Florida Springs Mermaids. They would have and they still do, they have an annual gathering every year called Spring Splash. It's in the fall now, but where they all get together, and there's literally hundreds of mermaids that will get together in Florida, and because they've got the springs and they're beautiful and gorgeous. So I'm like, I just want like if I had people to do this with, I could make it practical. And so I started searching in Illinois. I'm like, is there an Illinois group of mermaids? When we gather together, we typically call ourselves a pod, kind of like whales, because we are mammals, we have hair. Um, so mermaids are a pod. So I found a pod based in Illinois, and that's kind of what made it practical for me. So I got like my first little cheap tail, which is somewhere on a shelf over there. It's getting ready to go to a festival because now I let people try it on for pictures. But it's a whole thing. So from there, um, I once you get into this, it's kind of like potato chips. Once you have one, you can't stop. So that kind of got started into it, and then I got the opportunity to start performing. And so I went from there and I just, kept going. And then like I knew I wanted to take on more than just I could handle as an individual. Like I'm getting older, I don't do multiple gigs per day. I do one. But I didn't want to have to say no to people either. So that's when I went from being just Emily the Joliet Mermaid to Windy City Mermaids, where I have a team. And I have a decent sized team, and we're also actually auditioning right now. So if anyone's interested, they can reach out to me and I'll give them the link to the little Facebook group. And we're auditioning throughout the month of June because I need some more people. I've got some little gaps of things I need to fill. It's not like constant work, but it's good. It's a good time. Um, so that's kind of also a little bit of Emily the person. Um, my work background is also something kind of fun. I've been a cake decorator for 18 years. Now I started in grocery down in Nashville. That's actually how I moved to Chicago, is I went to school up here at the French pastry school. Um, which I can't remember if it's a Netflix documentary or something else, but it's called Kings of Pastry, and that was based off of my chefs from school. From there, I worked in a couple bakeries around Chicago, but then I went into Wilton, which is a company that um, makes like the baking pans and the gingerbread houses. In like the 90s, early 2000s, they were known for like the shape pans. So you get the Barbie pan or the Little Mermaid pan or the Dora pan or Elmo or whatever. They became known for those, and then like primarily gingerbread houses, sprinkles, and then just basic bakeware and cake decorating supplies. So they're based out of the Chicago suburbs. So I was blessed enough to end up there. I was there for 12 years. Um, we decorated for like marketing purposes. So like I wasn't decorating real cakes anymore. I was decorating styrofoam for photography and for video. So I spent a lot of time in studios and then picking up marketing things, working really closely with it, digital and social media. And so I kind of picked up a lot of that, which also kind of helped me, in my business, help me build it and grow it. I was unfortunately laid off a couple years ago, so now I'm at Whole
Mm.
Foods, which I'll actually be doing the Chicago Pride Parade with Whole Foods. I won't be a mermaid, but I will be a fairy. I will be my pickle fairy character, which is really fun. I just finished putting her together a few months ago. But her name is Dilly Pickle Fairy, and it's green. So I have all my wigs. I usually have like a dark root so that my natural hair kind of blends. But it's like a green curly wig. I've got big dragonfly wings, and everything's green and pickles and cucumbers, and it's a lot of fun. Mermaid era, Emily as a mermaid. Um, is also a little bit everywhere as well. Depending on the audience that I'm with, one of the biggest things that I do, which was actually with Mermaid JC, who you interviewed not too long ago,
Yeah.
is the Michigan Renaissance Festival. And so Mermaid Emily there is a little bit sassier. She's almost a little bit whiny or bratty, but kind of in a nice way. And so one of my things to help kids kind of come out of their shells because when they come to meet mermaids, it's almost like Santa Claus. Sometimes they're into it, and sometimes they are very like, oh no, and they just kind of shut down. And so one of the things that I try to do to help break them out is I'll ask them questions and I'll be like, so, have you heard about pickles? I keep seeing all these things about pickles. And so the kids will be like,
Pickles.
yeah, I know. I'm like, do you know what they are? And so the kids will be like, yeah, I know what pickles are. I'm like, so are they like, what are they? And they're like, oh, it's something that you eat and it's green and it's crunchy or sweet or whatever. And so I'm like, so tell me, I hear pickles are made out of something called cucumbers. And then like sometimes they'll be like, no, or yeah, yes, they're made out of cucumbers. And then I'm like, well, in the sea, we have something called sea cucumbers, but it's an animal and it's squishy and it poops sand. And the kids
Mm.
then, they start laughing and it's funny. And I'm like, but tell me, do pickles poop sand? And, it's, it's a whole thing. So it's a lot of fun. So Mermaid Emily is very curious, but also like, someone came and they were dressed up as a giant pickle. So I did my whole bit with the pickles, and I'm like, where did you get, And I realized, oh, she's got legs. Pickle, where did you get legs? And so she's like, oh, and she's like asking her dad, and I'm like, you need to go get. And then like my daughter, who's over there somewhere, is my legs. I call them legs. They are my handler. They're 22, so it's not like a child. It's a grown up. But I'll be like, you need to get me some legs. They're at the pickle store. If you go to, and it's always fun when you get to yell at your kids like you're the child too, which is really fun. So I have a lot of fun. And then when I'm dealing with little kids, I'm a little bit, nice and sweet. And then I get a little sassier, like whatever. With grown-ups, I kind of build on what my environment is. Mermaid Emily's backstory is also very similar to mine. I say that she was born in Lake Huron because I was born in Michigan on,
Right.
you know, the Lake Huron side. I was over here in Ann Arbor ish. I was born in Ypsilanti. I lived in Ann Arbor. And then I made my way down to Florida. So I'd say that then she traveled her way down to Florida and she kind of was back and forth in the springs and whatever. And then now she's made her way back to Lake Michigan, which is the lake that Chicago is on. So it's kind of a little bit of that. Just a lot of, the traveling that I get to do and things like that. I kind of take my real life and put it into this fantasy life. I also keep the same name just because it's easier. Kids can say it. And then also, kids get excited if I have the same name as them, which Emily is a very popular name. So kids get really excited when they're like, "Ah, Emily too." And so it's really fun.
Mm. Wow, that's a long backstory. I like it. Listen,
Yeah, it's a
listen.
lot.
I didn't interrupt. I didn't interrupt because I want you to preach. But I like that you express yourself. Listen, you're doing like a lot of wonderful stuff. Like when JC sent me your information and I looked at all the amazing stuff you done, I was like, okay, now I need to talk to her now. She's done amazing work, and I like
Oh,
the work that you're putting
absolutely.
in.
I love seeing what she is getting into, and I'm like, I need to like I don't know if I need a passport to go to Canada, but I think it's probably a good idea. But I'm like, I need to get over there and go visit or watch her work.
Trust me, it'll be worth your time. Listen, I got friends up there in Canada too. I'm trying to get there. Money, it's money.
Yeah, yeah, that's the biggest obstacle with everything right now. Like there's actually a convention happening this weekend in Wisconsin, which is maybe 2 hours from me. Which it's their first one. It's called Fresh Coast Fins. So Fresh Coast being a lake. Um, Lake Michigan. So they're having their first convention, and I really wish I could be there, but I'm gonna be going the other direction to start my Pride festivals, which my first one is
Mm.
tomorrow. So I got to at least practice kind of my makeup and everything. So I'll be down in Ottawa Pride tomorrow. So it's really fun.
But there you go. Hey, like I said, I'm showcasing Pride people.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think you've been seeing all the Pride people I've been interviewing up to this point. Shoot. Like
Hmm.
I just interviewed a drag queen, a voice actor, and now I got another VA tomorrow, and she's a LGBTQ person as well.
Oh,
And
that's
then there,
awesome.
and
Yeah,
then,
I've always kind of wanted to do that. I'm like, oh, you guys just tell me how to get started. Get me into it. I want to.
and then I'm also
Everyone
interviewing
says I sound like a Disney princess, and I'm just when I hear my own voice, I'm like, I don't know how you listen to me, but yeah, I think everyone's like that a little bit.
Yeah. Then I'm interviewing another LGBTQ person, but he's stationed in Japan right now. So
Oh wow,
this is gonna be my first interview with a person from Japan. So I'm trying to
that's
test out the
awesome.
long distance call.
Yeah, yeah, the time changes a little bit. So I also work with we're kind of on a hiatus right now.
Mhm.
But I work with a group called Mermaid at Any Age, and so it's kind of building like acceptance and diversity and things like that in the mermaid community. And we have a member who is based in Australia. So when we were trying to like coordinate video chats, like Zoom chats with everybody, we had to find a time that not only worked for like East Coast to West Coast, but also the other side of the world in Australia. So it's a little like that time change is kind of weird.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm sure you somebody is going to be early in the morning and someone's probably going to be late at night, but you'll make it work.
I interviewed a person from the UK.
Oh
And
yeah.
she's a spicy creator, but she's very sweet though. She's very sweet.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, she was in UK, so I had to wake up early in the morning and had to interview her at her time frame, which was like at let's see, eight o'clock in the morning, 6 hours ahead. So pretty much in the afternoon. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm getting used to all those long distance calls and different time
Yeah, yeah,
zones.
yeah.
Even if I gotta go get coffee first, I'll go to Starbucks and do a little
Yes,
Starbucks
yes.
run. So it'll work itself out. It works itself out. So yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you for that little origin story.
Yes.
Um Next up is another two-part question.
Okay.
Now, was there a specific moment where you realized this could become a real career? And part two is you've had a long career in creating magical experiences. Now, how did that journey begin?
How did what?
How did that journey begin?
Oh, okay. So it definitely ties back a lot to, like what I meant before, but like those first couple of gigs that I got to do, um, you know, was a lot of seeing kids' faces. Like I've worked, throughout, the various things I've done through my multiple careers. Almost everything's tied back to kids in one way or another. Um, I like when I started college the first time, I actually was an elementary education major. But like everything's always, kind of tied back to kids. And I like I like kids. I like kids more like besides my own kids, even though they're grown up now. Um, I like kids in short bursts. So that's why I didn't finish becoming an elementary school teacher, as I knew I didn't want like to be around these kids all the time. But I like them in short little intervals. And so like with Cake, with Mermaid, um, making kids smile and bringing them a little bit of magic in the world that we live in now, especially. Um, Even like things were different, when I started before COVID and before crazy political things and um just being able to like get an escape from that um is really like it brings me a lot of mental, joy, refills my batteries as much as it drains them. But it fills my heart with joy, it fills their hearts with joy, and I knew that um that yes, I was right when I was 8 years old. This is what I want to do. Um well, I wish I could make this a full-time career. I would in a heartbeat. I'm just not I'm not there yet. I'm, getting there, maybe. But you just keep pushing. If it happens, it happens. Um, but yeah, that's kind of, just keep going. That's really kind of, I feel like that probably takes both of them, both parts together a little bit.
That's amazing. Yeah, sometimes when people, whatever career you're doing, once you get started with something, and I think you already know the term imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and even Mermaid Jason told me that that's something she deals with on a daily. Like
Hmm.
if I can do this for you, and and listen, it'll take time. Like sometimes when we do something new, it's like you're not gonna get it, get good at it overnight. Sometimes you just gotta be bad at it. That's the key thing.
Hmm.
You just gotta be bad at first before you get good at it
Absolutely.
first.
Yeah, and like you can always, like if someone's trying to get into this, I always suggest for people to start as a hobby. Um, Learn to swim in the tail, learn what you like, learn how you like to move even. The team that I work with, like I move differently than they do. Um, we work really closely with a group called Mermaid Swim Club, which it is technically a nonprofit. They do a competition every year, and it targets like a lot of different areas of mermaiding, whether it's like the athletic aspect, the breath hold, safety, the technical skills and things, but also like the artistic part. And like so, a couple of them do that, and they compete, and they I work also like with Merman Chatterjee. He's done the Merlympics. I think they had those last year in Germany. He got to go and compete and represent the United States for that, which was amazing. He did really well. Um, but he was a swimmer at growing up, and so he can move fast. I'm like I don't move fast. I move very slowly, and like I like to be a little more graceful, or I don't choreograph myself certain ways. I just like to kind of go with the flow. And I'm like competing's not my style. So like everyone kind of has their own things. So it's good to test it out, like what you enjoy and what you even if you want to perform. Like not every hot like I kind of have a habit of doing this between cake and mermaid, is taking my hobbies and turning them into jobs. You don't always have to do that. It's always sometimes that can burn out, your love for a hobby. Like I'm kind of over cake decorating, I want to do something else. It's been 18 years, I'm tired.
You could have made a
But
cake for me. I wanted one.
Oh, you you come, I don't know if you're familiar with Whole Foods. There is one cake particular at Whole Foods that they are known for, and um yesterday I think I made 60 of them, and today I think I made a little bit less, but it one cake, which is that Chantilly cake, and while I'm tired of it, it is delicious. I can't deny that it is delicious, and I highly recommend it.
All
So yeah, if you have a
right.
Whole Foods nearby, just go get your Chantilly cake. They have little ones. They're
Yeah,
expensive
there's
because it's
one.
Whole
There's one
Foods.
on the other side of town, so I know where to go.
Yeah, yeah, it's unfortunately delicious. But But yes, so like I do try to warn people a little bit is like you don't have to make your hobbies and the things you love jobs. Sometimes not having that pressure, you know, helps keep the love of it alive. Sometimes it does, it keeps you going to do that too. So like you kind of have to find what works for you. So I always suggest trying out as a hobby. Learn to swim, um, get some certifications. While they're not like absolutely necessary, um, I require my performers to have them for the safety aspects. It doesn't even have to be mermaid, it can be free dive, it can be scuba, because they're all kind of the safety aspect of it is the same. You know how to quick release from your tail. You know what to do, how to rescue someone. There's you just know how to handle yourself calmly in like adverse situations. So like I feel like that's an important thing. And then there's like um if you do choose to be, I guess, an above water performer, which is kind of what I am. Like I talk to the children when I'm at Ren Fair. I mean, I'm on the edge of the tank. I'm talking to people. Um, People who are trying to learn, you know, get out of their comfort. Like that tail kind of forces you out of your comfort zone. Um, like I grew up super shy. Like I would have hated doing this as a child. I'm like, oh, I have to talk in front of people. Um, like that, it brings you out of your shell, which it helps. Um, but also, like, people are like, well, how do I handle certain situations? And I'm like, improv. That's really like build yourself a backstory and then improv. And like, if you need to, like, there's videos on everything. You can teach yourself anything on YouTube. My husband taught himself to play piano. He's actually really good at it. Um, you can teach yourself anything on YouTube. When I was teaching myself cake decorating, 18 years ago, um, this actually probably would have been closer to 19 years ago. The stuff I couldn't figure out from the book that I had gotten, I looked it up on YouTube. I'm like, I don't understand. And then like, oh, YouTube. So like you can do that. You can find improv if you live, at least if you live in an area like I do, you can find improv classes. Chicago is known for it, but uh, there's different kind of acting schools even online and things like you can find those kind of resources to kind of help build you and build you up. And then this hobby has spread so much across the world, especially after the Mer People documentary, that there are social pods everywhere. Illinois has several. I have my own. So, like, Windy City Mermaids is the performance, Windy City Merfolk Pod is the social. And so, like, that, then people just can get together and swim with no pressure. You're just having fun. And you learn so much just from that, from each other. Like, we let each other tried our different things. Like, oh, I have this monofin and this monofin. This person is like, oh, what is this like? And we just here, try it, swim in it. Um, I was blessed in was it April? Yeah, I think it was April. I went to Arkansas with Whole Foods, and I took a day, and I went and swam with Mermaid Sparkles, who is with the Mer People documentary. We swam together, and she had gotten a newer monofin. And so I hadn't swam with it. She was like, here, try it. We happen to have feet that are the same size. So I got to try that monofin out too, which was really cool. So like, find people and then you can kind of find yourself before you jump into trying to perform. Because there's so much, you know, it's more than just showing up at a birthday party with a mermaid tail and being like, hey, da da da, and swimming with kids, because there's just so many different, things between, and that's not even getting into like insurance and pricing and all that, and contracts. There's a lot that goes into it. So I like to tell people to start small or find a
Mhm.
company, even yeah, I have a company, but um I think it helps. Like that's part of also why I have my company is that I can do a lot of those things for other people in my area, and we're also then not competing with each other, So like I do all of the back end stuff, and then I can send like, hey, Mermaid Sushi, Siren Beatrix, go do this, and Mermaid Arena, go, and so they go do their things, and so like it's good, you can build each other up too that way. And I am constantly learning. Like JC is talking about, imposter syndrome. Um, like I am still a small fish, acting like a big fish. But it's, you do what you can to lift each other up. I am constantly learning. I am still, JC and I work together with Trident Tales, which is actually based in Florida when we do the Michigan Renaissance Festival. And I'm still like, hey, send me down to Florida. Like, I have places to stay, but I can learn from it, like I'm always trying to learn from whatever environment that I'm, being thrown into.
Mhm. And
Always.
listen, learning is a never-ending process. Just never learn. Shoot, I'll learn until I die. So
Yes,
it's
that
just
is really like you are never gonna know it all. Um, and I've taken little bits from other people too. Like even like the way I do my makeup, a lot of people do like the scales and things. That's fine. It's I like it a little more simple. And, a lot of the bigger performers that I look up to, they don't do that. And so they do something a little more like colorful and glamorous. So that's kind of how I kind of evolved myself too. Like I might do the scales depending on the look. Like I have a koi fish kind of look. That's when I'll put the fishnet stockings on my face and sit there with orange and black and white, and then I'll have the scales everywhere. But yeah, so you build and you evolve constantly.
exactly. And listen, you're gonna make mistakes. It's inevitable. I learned that too. Listen, like, I've been doing so much. I'm just trying to like, do the best I can with this thing. I made a few mistakes here and there, but they make me stronger.
Hmm.
So I learn from them.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And listen, Emily, please keep doing what you're doing. I like what you're doing.
Me.
You know, please do not stop. It's a
No,
thing.
I plan on keeping going. Like even now, I'm working on because I'm trying to expand myself, but also do it, respectfully and the right way, and but also not lose Windy like the heart, which is Windy City Mermaids. So like, we have like the right now it's called Windy City Fairies, which I haven't told anybody but but that name is changing. Um, but so like things are evolving, and I'm like, okay, if we're gonna expand, the name Windy City isn't gonna work. So like there are things in motion for the next steps for that. Like you always gotta keep moving.
There you go. There you go. Well, we're done with that section. Now we're in section two, the
Okay.
mermaid world and performance. So, I'm about to hit you with another two-part question.
Okay.
Um, what does it actually take to become a professional mermaid? Part two, how did you go about getting certified through PADI and SSI?
Hmm. So I'll again answer those in reverse. So
Mhm.
I started before mermaid certifications were a thing. Um, which a lot of people, a lot of us have, a lot of us haven't. No shame either way. Um, so I believe NAUI and SSI were the first that I had heard of. And through my dad, who is down in Florida, I have connections through scuba. So my dad worked. He's working on retirement. I don't know what he's doing now, but he worked for up at a place called Blue Grotto, which I'm sure a lot of Florida mermaids are familiar with. Every now and then, I would get random pictures of my dad from mermaids that I don't even know. They're like, "Look who we found," and I'm like, "Yeah, we put him in a mermaid tail." And I'm like, "Good for you." But so my dad works in scuba, and so the place where he worked at Blue Grotto, they do a lot of scuba and free dive classes there because it's basically a giant hole in the ground. And then you can go to like a cave and stuff. So there's a lot of various certifications in scuba that they can do there. And so someone who my all of my dad's certifications are through Patty. Um, but he met people who also do, SSI and the others. He met an instructor who was based out of Orlando. He would come and teach there. He started doing the mermaid certification. So this was early on. I want to say it was 2018 or 19 that he was started doing the mermaid certifications. And so he's like, "Come down, I'll take care of it," So one of my trips down there, I took a day and I was in Orlando with him getting my first mermaid certification, which was the SSI one. Um, and then just kind of over time, um, we had here locally, like I mentioned, Mermaid Swim Club. The guy that founded that, his name is Anatoly. Um, I think on Instagram he's Mermaid Coach Anatoly or something along that lines. Anatoly Underwater Arts. He does a lot of things. He's a free diver in background. He started as a free diver. He said that he thought free diving was a little bit boring, especially here. There's not a whole lot to look at when you go free diving. Our water's not quite as crystal clear. Um, so then he kind of saw mermaiding. He's Chinese, I believe. Um, and so he saw like what they're doing over there, which they are doing amazing stuff over there, especially like in aquariums and things. And he got inspired, and so he um, was kind of searching for mermaids and he found, like some of the groups that I'm in locally. And so I started working with him and he became a PADI mermaid instructor. And then he also became a PADI mermaid instructor trainer. So I started, um, and I don't have a lot of SSI instructors in my area. I think the closest that I know of is in Indiana. So he worked out with like kind of a deal with me, so that I did, um, my first level like mermaid, and then I did my advanced, and then I also did my instructor certification through him. So I am a PADI certified mermaid instructor. So yeah. So that's kind of there. It's just through connections. I think right now, the Patty mermaid instructor, were a little bit oversaturated. Like there's a few too many in this area, so I haven't really actively started teaching. Um, I'm in talks to maybe start here soon, but we'll see what happens there. Um, but, as for, kind of coming in and starting as, becoming a performer, like I said, just starting small and kind of, figuring it out and evolving, as you go, test the waters, dip your fins in the water and feel it out. I think also
Exactly.
a good tip would be if there are mermaids in your area performing publicly, go see them. Um, I've learned a lot, watching also. Like, sometimes when I do Michigan Ren Fair, I will work in the host position. Like the first year we did it, I think was it 3 years, 4 years ago now? I worked as a host a bit more, and so I got to see a lot of variety of performers, and see what works for me and what doesn't work for me, and kind of build off their jokes. Like my pickle bit actually started from a bit that JC did about pickles, and I kind of took that and spun it and turned it into something great, a cool thing. But like, you kind of do that. You build and evolve, from yourself and from your own stories and then from each other. And there's, just take it all in, mix it up and spit it out.
Oh, definitely. There's a lot, especially there's, I've been seeing more mermaids coming into the fold lately. And, I don't know if you saw these guys in Florida. They're called the Wreck Bar Mermaids or something. That's what they're
Hmm.
doing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
know
if
one
you,
of them, at
which one
least one
is
of
it?
them. So I know Mermaid Charlotte. So she is also known as the Mermaid Lawyer. So she is working with Rec Bar, but she is also works with Mermaid L, who's a little more widely known as Mermaid L. And
So not like Mermaid Lorelei, Phoebe, not those other two.
I don't know them personally,
Okay,
because I'm not usually in South Florida. Like
I
my
understand.
my family's north, so I don't usually make my way south. And just because the community is so big, so I don't know. But I know Mermaid Charlotte. I know she was there because I was like, "Ah, I want to come down. I want to work there at least once." Um, and I know through Trident Tales, one of the girls that works with him, I've not met her directly, but I've met her kind of through like online chats or things, through with working with Michigan Ren Fair. But she also kind of works down there. I think have multiple like teams that work down there doing certain, different kinds of shows. Um, I think. I don't know I know there was drama down there a couple of years ago, and I don't know I can stay down there. But but yeah, I do know Mermaid Charlotte. She was actually my attorney. She helped me with my trademark. So Windy City Mermaids is trademarked. So I know her pretty well. We've met a couple times, and hopefully we'll get together again soon. And maybe I'll make my way down to Fort Lauderdale and do the rec bar.
Okay, okay. So yeah, so you still got time to get there. Yeah, I know my hometown, Georgia, there's only one place, we got Tybee Island. Tybee Island is beautiful out there,
Oh yes,
but
yes.
I don't think I ever see any mermaids there in Tybee
They
Island.
they are. I believe Mermaid Flamingo performs there now. So she like I'm pink, she is also pink. She is very bright in your face pink. She is a sweetheart. There was a mermaid that used to do it years ago. I think she retired. But there I believe Mermaid Flamingo is in Tybee Island now.
You think maybe I
I'll
could?
I'll send you her information.
Okay, because I was like, well, shoot, well, it is summertime, so I guess I could
Yeah,
go take
yeah,
a look.
I know I've seen because I've heard that. I don't know it, but I've heard that those words together, Tybee Island, and I'm like, oh, that looks like a cool place, and I want to say it's Mermaid Flamingo. I could be wrong, but if it's not her, she probably knows who it is.
All right. Well, shoot, I guess I could add that to my list of things to do next week. I guess I could pay a visit. See what's going on. All
Yeah.
right. Well, shoot. See, now you got me excited. Now I need to go back
Yeah,
to time.
really, we are everywhere. Well, like there are places that are like, oh, mermaids is not safe. I can't put us on your insurance, kind of thing. But there's still we're there. We're everywhere. And it's, there's 10 million Facebook groups. So like if someone is like looking to get into it or anything, go into the Facebook groups. Like there's so many. Like there's Mermaid Mania, there's Society of Fat Mermaids, which is more, size inclusive, and you don't have to be fat to be in the Society of Fat Mermaids. But, there's so many of these little Facebook groups that you just search mermaid in a Facebook group, they'll come. You go in there and just like, hey, I'm looking for mermaids in this area. They will come. What is it? If you plant it, they will come, or it will, whatever. It's coming. We're everywhere.
I think I just found her.
It looks right. Yes, that's her. Yeah, she's a
Uh,
sweetheart.
all right. So she might be in Tybee Eye. Oh, shoot. I'll make sure to go pay a visit then.
Yes, yes. Or reach out to her. I don't know her schedule. So like,
Oh, just do okay. Okay, I'll contact her first, but I'll do that after we're finished. But we're here for you today. This mermaid here. We're here for this mermaid today. Next, what are some of the biggest challenges of performing in a mermaid tale? This might be a little bit funny, but tell us what's the biggest challenges?
yes. So for me, what I have found is like I have a decent sized collection of mermaid tails. I'm like looking down because I actually have a pile of them right there, and I also have a pile, like a shelf of them over there. Um, I find like when I'm doing dry land, like tomorrow, I will not be in the water. I will be actually get to be in my first parade tomorrow, which I'm really excited. But and then I'll be in a tent, like the square little 10 by 10 tents. It'll basically be like a
Yeah.
Santa Claus setup. Come meet the mermaids, take your picture, and leave. It's a little more than that, but
Oh,
that's the gist. But I'm dry, so when I have I can reach this, so let me just pick it up. So if I have a fin on like this one I
wow.
want to say is about 17 pounds of silicone. It's hard to pick it up, with your feet and flop it around. In the
How
water,
heavy?
it's
How heavy is that thing?
yeah, this one is probably about 17 pounds. And it is not my heaviest one. Um, my my full silicone tail that I perform in is just under 40 pounds. That's the whole thing. And the bulk of the weight is the fluke down because it's a decent size. fluke. So like if I'm on land, it's really hard to move that thing. And because it's silicone, silicone is non-slip. So like if I'm trying to scoot somewhere, I can't just slide. I have to like physically like lift, do kind of that kind of it's a very awkward crawl. The butt
Oh
we call it I
no.
always call it the butt scoot, like just kind of work backwards to do this. Um, it's a lot harder in one, a 40-pound tail. When you're out of the water, you can feel that weight. And because it's silicone, it's solid, so you are sweating. Um, I am soaking wet when I get out of that thing, from the sweat. Um,
I ain't
so
gonna blame you.
I don't usually wear that when I do dry land. So the tail that I am wearing tomorrow is in my car. My children are loading it now, but I wear my Mythic tail, which is it's still like a high quality performance tail. It has a silicone monofin, but it's not nearly as heavy. It's much smaller. I can flap my fin around and be goofy, because it's a lot lighter. Um, I like and like a personal preference for me is that when the kids want to touch, and feel, and so like they can feel the scales and feel um, if I'm also working with someone in a fabric tail, like, oh, look, we feel different. Different species. Some mermaids feel soft and some are rough or whatever. Um, so like you could play. There's always ways to play off if you're in fabric, which is, totally fine. Um, but yeah, like so there's the weight aspect of it is definitely something that not everybody thinks about. Like I really wanted to take my silicone tail to the St. Louis Renaissance Festival one weekend,
Okay.
and that was a poor decision. Because that one you are dry, I basically sit on a rock all day, and so it was rough. Like I at least sat on like a cushion, but it was like, oh,
Well,
and
well,
then like you have to walk up a hill. Um,
hold
to
on.
get in and out of and it's just like carrying like I use a wagon to carry it around, but it's just like it's like, dude, I'm 42
Well,
years old. I don't want to, I'm like, I'm tired.
hold on.
So
Hold on a second. Like, how hot was it over there in St. Louis when you had to do
so it
that?
actually wasn't particularly hot because St. Louis is the mid late September and through October.
Oh, okay then.
So the
Okay.
weather is a little bit iffy. It They do have hot days in that time frame, but they also have cold days. But it's just sit and we're at least the Mermaid Grotto there is in the shade, which is very much a blessing. But it's still you're just sitting there and
Mm.
it gets, you get bored, you're not moving and you're sitting on, literally a rock. And, and so it's just, and it's a smaller Ren Fair. It's not as big as like Michigan or Bristol or te Texas and Colorado. It's smaller. It's really cute. Um, I want to say it's 6 or 7 weekends that one goes. It's the same ownership as Michigan and Bay Area, Minnesota, which is kind of how I have my connections into it through Trident Tales. He works with a few of the fairs that ownership manages all across. Um, but yeah, so you learn like different tails are suited for different jobs. So that can kind of, figuring that out can be a struggle. And then even just like when I'm swimming for fun, because usually when I perform, I'm mostly out of, my head is above water. But when I'm swimming for fun or trying to do some fun, cute little content things, different tails perform different ways underwater. Like because my silicone tail is heavier, I can stay down underwater longer than I could in, a fabric one that I'm more, my own personal buoyancy makes me floaty. So like I need to wear weights often to stay down. I usually will just, I can be blowing out all my air, but I'm still floating. So I'll often use weights. But with my silicone tail, while I don't necessarily feel that weight, it's definitely there, and it helps keep my, buoyancy a little more neutral, so I can kind of stay here. And like if I'm trying to do like a goofy little dance or a lip sync or something, it's easier for me to stay here. Like the one I just posted, like I think it was yesterday.
Yeah,
Um,
I actually shared
I
it because I liked
yeah,
it.
I saw. I was floating, and so I'm just like, stop. That was the best take I got, other than like being way down, way, way down at the bottom. So I had more of the water weight keeping me down. But then I'm like, I can't move. I don't, it looks weird because I'm like crumpled up, like, you know. So what I want to do is do it again with weights so that I can stay, nice and vertical and get it right. And then even like I mentioned, my mythic tail that I use for dry performances. The material that all those scales are sewn to is neoprene, which is a floaty fabric. So just the fabric alone will float naturally. It's porous, like sponge, kind of. A lot of insulated scuba suits or even lunch boxes like are made out of that material, neoprene. And so I have to wear weights with that if I'm going to swim at all. Like, because otherwise I'm just like, I took it to the springs once and like my feet are just, this is probably better, but like I just see it, my feet are like this the whole, because it's just floating. And, um, my friend that I was swimming with, she gave me weights that I could kind of put behind my back, because I wasn't swimming weighted at the time yet. And so she gave me some weights for there, so that kept like my midsection down, but my feet were still floating. So different tails, perform differently in the water. Like the monofin I just showed you, this black one, that's solid silicone, so it's heavy, it sinks. There's others
No.
that,
Yeah,
I'm like,
I wouldn't recommend using that. You'll
yes,
sink to the bottom.
some float. So like some you have to work a little harder and some you don't. So it's like you got to know your equipment, which is also good. If you have a local pod, you can try out each other's and then you can kind of feel what, you need to work on. Like when I do swim down at the springs, it's always good to have like a pool noodle because there's no edge of a pool when you're swimming in the springs or a natural body of
Right.
water. So you have something to kind of rest on, too, is something, you just, especially with a heavy fluke like that, you get tired, you have to conserve your energy. So, having something to rest, like there's so many things that go into it. Like there's a reason that like Patty Advanced is a couple days.
Hey, listen. You gotta know you know how much gadgets I got over the last year when I was doing this stuff, Like,
Oh, I
hold on.
bet.
I'm geeking out here because, I got the microphone. I just got some Oakley Metas last
Oh,
month.
nice.
So I'm
That's
just
fun.
trying
Yeah,
try try
my husband's a musician, so he went to school for sound audio engineering. It's not what he does. He's a salesman now, but we have an electronic drum kit. He's got hit so he can play drums without like keeping the whole neighborhood away because he hits hard. And we've got the guitars and the piano, the MIDI controllers, and he's got his mic, and it's so much stuff. I'm just like, I don't know what this. He's like, help me record this. Push the button. I'm like, what?
so many gadgets. I even got all these Rode products, the Rode microphones, this.
Oh
Got this
yes.
as well. Listen, I'm trying to take it more seriously now. I'm just trying to get everything I could get my hands on. So, but
Yes,
these were pretty good. So, I mean, I usually use these like I usually use this when I'm at the house at because thing is I don't want to deal with all those cables when I'm walking someplace. But this is more like on the go kind of stuff.
hmm
So I'm trying to be more professional with what I'm doing. So that's why, and this microphone I got was $114 last year. Because I was like,
it's
well, here's the
not that
thing.
bad.
Well, hey, listen. Well, listen. Here's the thing. Like using these in my videos. But here's the thing. When I'm doing this podcast, I want my hands to be free. So I got
Yeah,
this.
yeah, definitely.
So it was better than having to like get but I had to just have to use this to put up to my face
Hmm
because it gets
hmm
annoying. So, but yes, but now I got the oak, but yeah, but like you said, but like, now I got like yeah, I got the Oakley Metas last month because I was like,
Oh, nice.
I needed something a little. Listen, I get tired of strapping my. Listen, I have so much gadgets. Again, I got too many cameras. My GoPro camera, I get exhausted every time I have to put in and strap it onto my sling bag. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll just get the Meta glasses so I can just record video from there and photos.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
much,
that's nice.
I could do voice commands like shoot. I can say, hey Meta,
Oh,
start
nice.
recording, and then then stop recording when I want you to. So that way I can just use
Hmm.
voice commands instead of just pushing a button.
Yeah, when I was with Wilton during like COVID, like shut down, everyone's at home, like we had to keep working. And so what they had me do was I do a lot of like the instructional videos that you would see of hands doing something. So I would have to shoot that myself. Like when we were in office, I would be in the studio with the camera over my shoulder, doing the thing. But this time I had to shoot it myself and I'm like the camera like I couldn't get that angle to make sense, so I put the basically the phone stand I'm using now, I had it in front of me, and so like I could look at the screen, and then like I would use my nose to push the record button because I needed both of my hands to make the flower. And I need like okay, my hands are in position. I can't move them. So I use my nose to hit record. And that was rough. They used my videos, but they're out there. They're videos that I filmed with my nose.
Well, hey, you make a use of what you got,
Exactly. Yeah, and I had
It's
like my ring light like over here. Like it was like I had my ring light over here and I think I had a stack. Like I had a chair and like just hold the can. We got to
there
be
you go.
resourceful sometimes.
All right. Gotta use what's in your toolbox,
That's right.
limited resources, especially what you do in your mermaid thing. But yes, you could. I guarantee you will never see me do all those tails now. Heavy, sink to the bottom. I didn't know that tail was that heavy. You will sink
So,
to the
like,
bottom if you
while
put
that
that on.
tail may be 40 pounds, in the water, it doesn't feel like it. The material that silicone is, like, yeah, above water, on land, you feel the weight and you're just like, oh. But, if I drop it on the ground, it's gonna, well, it won't sploosh, but like, it's a noise. But in the water, you genuinely you don't feel that weight unless you're doing something wrong. You kind of learn to move your body in a way that has a really good flow. The only time I feel that weight is if I'm like treading water and in one place, and I'm like just chit-chatting with friends or whatever, because mermaids do that a lot, especially being a mostly, female, group of people. We talk, but and that's when I start to feel it. But you keep moving and you get the flow right, and you really don't feel it. It's almost weightless underwater. Like it's not, but you don't feel that weight. Which like I can put on that 5 pound little weight belt and I feel that more than I feel the 40 pounds hanging from my feet. I know that sounds weird, but that's really, I think I'm sure there's science behind it that I don't fully know how to explain, but I think it's like probably like with the density of the materials and the air, the hydrodynamics of, the flukes and, just the way things are shaped based off, fish. And so like, those things kind of all together, you really don't feel it. And like the first time I ever put on a tail, I think what really helped it click for me was not being afraid to use the monofin because it's basically flippers, that, snorkelers or scuba and freedive, they have the two. It's just one together, but it propels you. And so that you make that monofin do the work and it's so much easier. It's just a little baby flick can give you so much momentum and power. especially different monofins with different shapes, will have that even differently. The amount of power, but even the simple ones, they'll give you just that enough power that you're not working that hard and you don't feel the weight, and it's so much easier. And then like even, the beginner tails, I don't have one handy. Um, they're super light. They're less than 5 pounds, the little, like I have the skin, this one, or like these are little fin fun tails. They usually will have a thin little monofin inside
Wow.
of this. And this doesn't weigh anything, and it's still like these are really cool looking. Like I love this thing. And like I don't know if you can see it, but it's got like little shiny little scales and stuff. And like these are great, just get in the water and swim and you're like it's different and it's fun. Um I think it was last week sometime, I went into the city and I swam with somebody for the first time, and he'd never swam in a mermaid tail before, and he was curious about it too. He's like, he had come from Thailand, no, Taiwan, and so he was back here, and he's like, can I try it? And I'm like, your feet probably won't fit in my footholes, but the skin itself would fit. And he was just laughing. He's like, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing." I'm like, "Next time I'll bring you one that fits." So like, but he even just having like half his foot in, like he was still able to get it a little bit. And he's just like, "Yeah, this is crazy how much this like you could go, you can move. Like if you want to move, you can move." So like I don't be afraid to try it. Though, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Like my daughter, she's like, nope, 2 legs. So I'm like, that's fine.
I
But my
understand.
son's done it. He's done it, and like when he was littler, he's like, everyone's like, oh, you're a merman, and he freaking loved being called a merman. That was, the greatest. But yeah, now I don't think I have anything that fits it. But yeah, he's tried it, and it's a lot of fun. It brings a bit of that fantasy world, makes it real, which is it's really cool.
There you go. It's working for you. All right, well, now that we're done with that session, now we're in the next one. This is going to be your favorite one, okay?
Okay.
Characters and storytelling. So let's start with another two-part question. I'm just throwing you two-part questions all over the
It's
place.
fine, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you also perform as Mermaid Princess and Bellflower the Fairy.
hmm
Now, how do you approach creating different characters? Part two, what makes each character unique in personality and performance?
So kind of like how I mentioned with Mermaid Emily, is that Mermaid Emily's personality is adjusted a little bit based on, the audience that she has, which honestly, is human Emily. I talk differently based on who, whom I'm around. Like my customer service voice is, not my I'm at work, voice. But so there's that. Like you can build off your audience. But like so Mermaid Princess is just the unofficial don't sue me name for Ariel. So it's the red wig, green tail, purple top. Um, so that's, it's just based off the movie. Um, so it's just that personality. I haven't, well, I have her available as a character. I haven't actually had to do it yet. I think for me, the thing that like I almost hesitate to is singing in public. I haven't, been able to get that courage up yet. I've kind of been
Right.
forcing myself to almost get there. Like
It'll come when the time
Exactly.
comes.
Like, and I did choir in high school, and I've been flat out told, like, oh, you can sing. And then I'm like, but can I? That's like the biggest obstacle there that like I said, I'm still working on it. But developing different characters, like I said, improv. So like I've taken interest. So like I do have Bellflower. Bellflower is my garden fairy. She's usually in like a purple or a blue. I have a giant rose that she walks around with. So like I basically say, oh, I'm Bellflower and I help the flowers grow. This is what I've done when I did Unicorn World a couple of times. Where I basically walked around as the fairy and interacted with kids, and it's so much nicer when you can walk. Which is a big difference from mermaid. Like fairies can walk. When I
There
host
you go.
at Ren Fair, I'm usually a fairy, and I'm like, look what I got, and I'll show my feet, and I'm like, I got shoes, you don't. Uh, um, but and that like that's that little sassiness my Ren Fair just brings out in me.
I'll
Um,
tell you something funny.
uh-huh.
My grandparents, when they were leaving Atlanta and they were seeing all these people dressed up for a convention and everything, I was like, why are these people dressed up like they going to a Renaissance fair? So I had to tell them all about it, and guess what? They ain't into that stuff. They into all those old Western movies. I was like, no matter how much I try, that's just not their thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's not there's so many different, especially like with cosplay, which I don't necessarily consider myself a cosplayer, but I guess I kind of am. There's so many different, communities and aspects and I think overall the thing I love about it is how accepting everybody like seems to be of each other, which is, it's a very well like while I'm not like a fursuit person. I love them and I think they're amazing. And um, there's like stigma around it, but like these are the nicest people, ever. So you just, sometimes you have to learn to knock your walls down. I think if I would have stayed in the community that I grew up in, I grew up kind of in a very conservative family and where I went to school was very conservative. Like if I would have stayed in that bubble, who knows where I would be, but not here. So like you have to, bursting your bubble is not always a bad thing. Like get out there and don't be afraid to experience things. I've had so many amazing experiences just by getting over that fear and going. Like I think for mermaids starting out, a lot of times they're just afraid to go to that pod swim like for the first time and meet new people and try something new is very scary. But I just tell them like just go. Like it's good. It's like I promise. It's all love. It's good. It's good, So um so yeah, definitely just get out there and do it. Um back to the question.
Take your
I had to
time. I
I had
know.
to
I'll let you
I
do
had
your
to
thing.
remember what it was for a second. But yeah, like I build, it does tie a little bit too, like in how I build my characters. Like again, it's improv, but I pull things from others too. And like when being at the Michigan Renaissance Festival in particular, they have a fairy team it's probably not the right word they call themselves, but there's a group of them, and they're amazing. They do the full face paint, like with the airbrush and everything. Like they're so good. And I noticed that they all kind of had themes, and then even like fairies, the way they're depicted in children's media, at least like Tinkerbell, they have themes. Like there's Tinkerbell's a Tinker Fairy, and there's a Garden Fairy, and there's like an Animal Fairy. And so I'm just like, like, okay, what themes do I like? So like I have Bellflower. Bellflower is the Garden Fairy. She's kind of my generic fairy. I also have Sweet Berry. Sweet Berry is the strawberry fairy. So red hair, strawberry wings. My outfit is basically like green and red with little yellow seeds. So like I full strawberry everything. I'm like, I love the strawberry pattern stuff. Like I can like totally change my set to be strawberry if I want to. So like I have Sweetberry. She's really fun. And then like I said, I just finished building Dilly the pickle fairy, so everything is pickles. Um, and then I, my team and I are working in July the Fairies of the Forest Festival, which is kind of like a mini Ren Fair based off of fairies. It's for one weekend, I believe. Yeah, one weekend. It's up in Elgin, so it's like a northwest suburb. Um, and so while I'm not providing fairies, I'm providing mermaids, but I think I personally will be working as like a handler and assistant. And so I want to be a water fairy. So like I have the pieces, I have to build it together, figure out what her name is.
Is
And
it going to
so
be
like
blue?
from there,
Please tell me, is it going to be blue? Please let it be blue.
it is, yes.
Yes.
I have a blue dress. It has like scales in the pattern, like a mermaid. Um, I have like a silicone armband that's like octopus tentacles. I have tights that have like silicone octopus tentacles that come down the legs. So it'll give me an opportunity to use that stuff. Um, I want to make like a headband, not like this, but not the wings, but with bubbles. Um, so I'm building her, and kind of as you do that, you kind of build their personalities. Most of my fairies are a little bit silly. It's all very similar to my mermaid. Like I don't change it up too much because then I don't have to mix them up, you know. So they're all very similar characters, but like their theme kind of is their personality. Like you always say, like don't make your one thing your personality, but my fairies, they do. So like, oh, she loves flowers. But like my strawberry fairy also is like having an identity crisis because she loves animals, and that just comes from like the human part of me taking over when there's animals at the Ren Fair, or wherever I am performing. The Ren Fair last year added a petting zoo, and I kind of lost my mind when they brought the
Ooh.
sheep over. Like I'm in the mermaid tank, and the sheep. I'm like, no, stop everything, get me that sheep. So then when I'm the fairy, like I have legs, I can go to the petting zoo now, and so I'm like, look, the sheep and and like there's frogs, and so Sweet Berry is also obsessed with animals, even though she's not an animal fairy. Dilly probably will be the same. Um, but yeah, the water fairy will probably be the same. But like I build off of, that theme, and I basically make it up as I go. My fairies, I haven't really built a lot of the backstory yet. I'll probably follow Tinkerbell's lead and be like, oh yeah, yeah, there was a I have to watch Tinkerbell again. Like she just kind of appeared, I don't remember bells or something. But yeah, so like you just kind of figure it out. You make it up as you go, and it's fun. I used to worry about if I told kids at a party, if I told this kid something, but I told this kid something else, like I worried like they were gonna like go back and like compare notes, but they don't. And also the like be, because of the nature of what I do too, at least with birthday parties, you're likely not gonna see them again. Like they
Uh,
they get older, they don't believe anymore, or they
hmm.
booked you next year's a different theme kind of thing. So the odds of you seeing them again are slim, or at least as the same character again are slim. I get repeats like at Ren fairs and Pride festivals and things. But then you're only with them for a few minutes as opposed to like an hour or two. So they get like a snippet of the personality as opposed to. So you don't have to worry about, the consistency of your story as much, or, take get the pressure off, because if you put too much pressure on yourself, you get stuck inside your head too much. Just gotta get out of there.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Whew, that's amazing. So that's yeah, everything that you're doing with you have to like when you enter like these different areas, you have to switch between personalities as well, which is
Yeah,
also
yeah.
very
I
crucial as
when I
well.
go when I go back to work after Ren Fair, I often will still have a little bit of that sass left, and I'm like, I'll like apologize in advance. I'm like, sorry if I get sassy with you. It's not it's not
It's
intentional.
okay.
I'm
It's
just
okay.
I
It's
haven't
okay.
exited. I haven't gotten out of character yet.
All right. True. I understand. You'll get back to normal when the sass wears down.
Oh yes.
Um, Now, last question, and then we'll be at the halfway mark. How important is storytelling in what you do?
Um, I think it depends, like I said, it depends a lot on the audience. So I don't necessarily, and also like what your goals are. Like, what story are you trying to tell? If I'm doing like straight on, like telling stories, then yeah, you want to kind of build something and have something to, have something to say. But, overall, like I was saying, um, the consistency doesn't always matter. Like it's great to have some consistency. Because every now and then it does, a kid might come up like your tail was purple last time I saw you, and now it's pink. And so especially like with tails like this, like this guy with this kind of monofin, I wear fabric around this. And so like if they happen to notice that there's a zipper or it's a different color, I can act like, oh, this one's inside out. But I can kind of unzip it a little and be like, this is like a bathing suit. I'm wearing a bathing suit like you wear a bathing suit. And they can see like a little bit like of the fin and like see my real tail's under there. And so I can wear different colors. And so like having some of backstory for situations like that is always good to have. But again, it's a lot of improv. It's kind of, how I take it. And if I'm trying to market something in particular, then there's a different kind of storytelling that goes involved with that. Like I also have on WindyCityMermaids.com, I have an apparel line. Like I have a Pride collection of leggings and swimsuits and blankets and pants and different patterns based on the different flags. They all have scales. I don't have anything handy, but they're all scales in the different flag color combinations. And so, like, I can tell a story in a picture I take wearing the leggings. Like, I'm using them and showing that they have pockets and that they fit different body shapes. Because, like, I'm not the little, skinny blonde mermaid, I'm a little bit more mid-sized, like I have a little bit of belly and some thighs, and so I can show what it looks like on different body shapes. I show that it's comfortable and that you can move in them. And again, like pockets, I'll like shove something in my pocket or whatever, and you can tell a story, in an image like that, just like what the setting is and things like that too, and it kind of brings it to life and makes it real.
Hmm. Yeah, depending, and this goes back to what I'm saying too. Like all the stuff that you're doing, Emily, telling these stories is what makes like impact on the children that you interact with.
Oh,
Something that they'll be
absolutely.
able to carry with for a lifetime.
Yeah, yeah, and especially with them, like I do a lot of making it up as I go. Like I was in I had a birthday party and I was just in like a basement, like a basement playroom. And the kids, especially when I'm just inside their house and it's dry, they'll bring me their toys. And like someone brought me like a little toy chicken. And I'm like, what is this? And they're like, it's a chicken. And I'm like, what's a chicken? And they're like telling me about it. I'm like, oh, I've heard of chicken nuggets. Is this a chicken nugget? And they're like, almost. And I'm like, oh, it's a chicken nugget. And so and every other kid like I interacted with, that like chicken became like the theme of my conversation with every kid. Like the kid would tell me, and I would understand now what a chicken is, but the next kid comes and I don't know what a chicken is anymore. So like there's things that just kind of, it's fun. You find something and you can just build on it, and like it can be, something as simple as a chicken. And like I was just looking down and I remembered. Um, this is the doll that I had my daughter go get. So this
Mhm.
is gonna tie back all the way to the beginning. Like I have a picture of me when I was 8 years old going to Wiki Wachi with me, and not this doll, but the same doll. And so I found, one on eBay of this doll, and she just so happens to be my same color scheme of my wet performance, like my tail and the hair that I do and everything. So I'm like, look, it's me and
Wow.
my doll. So like even though this isn't the same exact doll, it is from like 1990. No, I'm like, when was eight? Eight is third grade. 93, 92, 93. So yeah, my little doll.
That's just amazing. Whew.
Yes.
Okay, well, shoot, don't lose that doll. Keep it.
No, I was very happy to find that online because yeah, the one I had like played with in the bathtub, so like it is faded and old and long.
There you go. All right. Well, let's go on to the next section. Before we continue, are you enjoying our discussion up to this point?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. Let's see. Next up is called business and building a brand. So this is just going to be you one full question, okay?
Hmm.
Now you founded Windy City Mermaids and a mermaid school. What inspired you to build something bigger than just performing? And part two, what advice would you give to someone who wants to turn a career passion into a career?
So Windy City Mermaid School is still under works. It has definitely been a struggle to find a pool that will host us. There's a lot of like insurance complications, and a lot of facilities are either too nervous or their insurance companies won't let it happen. So we haven't found a home yet. I I have a chance. I talked to a pool yesterday. So maybe maybe it'll finally happen. But like with that, what I really wanted to do is I saw a gap. So there used to be a mermaid school in this area. It was handled by Aqua Mermaid, which there is some drama around that in general. But overall, it was a mermaid school. It brought mermaiding to a lot of kids and adults, just to try it out and to try it out, but also to be safe. And so
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to take in the Chicago area in particular, that I was friends with the girl who ran the Chicago chapter of Aqua Mermaid. So Aqua Mermaid Chicago was run by a friend of mine. Um, the overall founder, we don't talk about her. But so with when COVID happened, she moved back home to Minnesota. So she's not here anymore. So Aqua Mermaid Chicago is gone. And so I wanted to bring it back. And then especially like when Mer People and the live action Little Mermaid came out a couple years ago,
Yeah,
I
Halle
wanted to make
Bailey.
sure that when these kids put these mermaid tails on, that they're doing it the right way. That they're getting tails that are safe because a lot of the ones on Amazon and Shein and Temu, they're not safe tails.
No, they're not safe at
If
all.
anyone,
I've seen some of those tales, and sometimes the reviews on them are bad as well.
yeah, they're mermaiding is a sport. This is sporting equipment and you're binding your legs together. This, you have to do it safely and responsibly. And so I want to bring that back in a fun way, but also teaching them the safe way, the right way to do these things. And so that's what like the goal is to get kids in Mermaid Tales, even adults in Mermaid Tales, because like one thing that they would do is they had like girls' night out or whatever, birthday parties, bachelorette parties, and they go be mermaids and like be magical and and like sometimes just trying that out, could change, can change everything. Like, you get the itch and you're like, you become a mermaid, Um, so I want to be able to bring that opportunity to people and but also to do it so they don't drown. There's so many birthday parties I go to or events, like if I have an event in the water, there's almost always somebody who's going to be in a mermaid tail, and they're more than likely going to be wearing it wrong. Or they're not going to have the monofin, and then they're just bound. And like I said earlier, that monofin is what propels you, and that you have to not be afraid to use it. Well, if you don't have it, you can't use it, and you're just you have your legs tied together and throw your kid in the water. Like that's a bad idea. So, and then there's also like um bigger name people out there who have like I guess there's a picture of The Rock with his daughter in a mermaid tail without the monofin on. And like the mermaid community as a whole was like, no, stop now, please. No. Like you that she needs that monofin on. I don't care what your situation was. This is the picture going viral on the internet is her with no monofin in her tail. And like, I love Selena Spooky Boo. She's a Canadian, TikToker. I saw a video recently where she put the tail on, but she put it up to her chest, and then her feet are hanging. They're not in the fin. They're just hanging out the bottom. And
Oh
I'm like, no.
God.
And she jumps in the water, and I'm like, no, no, please. And luckily someone was there. Like her husband was there with her, but like, no. So like, there's a lot of improper use happening out there, and so like I do think the mermaid community, especially like people who have any kind of influence or draw, like my influence here is local. Like I said, I'm not a big a big creator, but I um a lot of people in this area when they look up mermaids they find me. And so I want to make sure that if they come to me that they're going to see that there's a right way to do this, and I want to bring that out there. So I'm very still. It's been a few years working hard to make that happen. Hope hopefully hopefully soon. But yeah, so there's that. I don't remember the other part of the question.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to turn a creative passion into a career?
Oh yes, yes. Um, with ev like I've mentioned I've had a lot of hobbies turn into careers, and I've had hobbies not turn into careers. So, like, I've had cake. Cake just like when I was introduced to cake, I worked at a Baskin Robbins Dunkin' Donuts in Nashville, and I was fascinated by watching the cake decorator. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. And so I taught myself how to do it. And then that was when I was on maternity leave with my son who's 18 now. And so like I taught myself how to do it. And then when I came back to work, that cake decorator had left. She went to a grocery store. And so I was able to kind of come in and, learn and start doing it, for money. But, you can make sometimes you have to make your opportunities happen. Like I taught myself how to do it. Like I got books, I watched YouTube videos, and I taught myself how to do it. I wanted, from there, I went into grocery, and I still wanted to do more because grocery cake decorating is it's a little bit more basic. And I knew I wanted to do more. And so that's how I ended up in Chicago was I went to French pastry school, which was I took a cake-based program and I got to learn like I could make this if I wanted to out of sugar. Like it's not, this is silk, but I know how to make all of this in sugar if it's almost exactly the way it looks now if I wanted to. So like I have it gave me like artistic expression. I worked in Chicago bakeries. I worked and then with Wilton like that let me take that to, a very high level, like being with Wilton, and then the opportunities that I got to do at Wilton. Like I'm on their YouTube channel. I got to travel. I've been to Denver. I've been to Reno. I've been to Omaha, all with Wilton. Um, so you can but you have to, work towards it. You have to teach yourself those things. You have to figure out what those next steps are. Learn from who's around you and, build a kind of community. There's a really strong cake community on Facebook too. There's nonprofits. I worked very heavily with a group called Icing Smiles, which they pair up cake decorators and bakers and cookie decorators with the families of children with critical illnesses. And so like they provide these cakes that like even for like a day give like a sense of normalcy to these kids' lives. One, they're amazed by these cool, amazing cakes, but there's it for that little bit of time, they're not like some sick kid in a hospital or whatever. So like you find things um and you find up you can make your own opportunities. With Mermaid, like I started as a hobby. When the opportunity came to do a birthday party, I jumped at it. Like you can't just be afraid. You have to do it. And before I did that, like I did it as a hobby. I learned how to do it and how to swim and how to be safe and all of that jazz. And then moved into it. Um, but then there's hobbies that I don't do as a career. Like I do some calligraphy, and that comes in handy like in certain areas. Like I can write on a cake really nice. And then like if I make a sign, at Ren Fair or the festivals or things, I can write like the schedules or Mermaid story time or whatever. I can write it really pretty, and it's nice to be able to do that myself, but I'm not seeking out doing that professionally. Um, because I don't want to. And I think too, that's okay. Not everything has to be a business. It doesn't have to be a big company like Windy City Mermaids. You can just do it yourself too. Um, so sometimes you just, you have to learn what goes into it and then, teach yourself and just do it. And if you're struggling to find like, hey, what is it I need to do? You can go to conventions. I want to say Mermagicon, which happens like in late winter, early spring in like the Maryland, Virginia, DC kind of area over there on the East Coast. Um, they have like classes, like they have like I can't remember if it's mermaid security or like mertending 101 where they like will train, the your assistants and like you know, because even just the assistant, there's a lot that goes into like keeping your mermaid alive and keeping children from drowning your mermaid, which, my daughter had to figure a lot of that out, but she's really good at it. And then the insurance aspect, and a lot of these, like there's classes there. A lot of us are willing to talk about it, so like you can always ask for help, and you just have to kind of do it and get to know people and do it. Um, sometimes there's just a lot of teaching yourself and trial and error and figuring it out. But there's definitely areas where you can't afford that trial and error, like safety and insurance and legal stuff. And a lot of my knowledge just of that came from the other areas that I worked in. Like working for Wilton, I learned a lot about licensing laws because we worked really closely with licensing partners. Like I've done work with Disney and different retailers like Michael's and Joann's and Party City and Sanrio, like all these, because we did those character like pans and stuff, cupcake liners, and so those brands have a lot of rules. Like I knew that if Wilton came out with like a reindeer cookie cutter, I could not put a red nose on it because that's trademarked. And so, like there's a lot of rules behind it when you're a business. So like I
And also so many restrictions.
exactly like there's a lot of that. And so you don't want to, those are the areas you don't want to mess up. So you have to be willing to find, you know, either someone you can learn those things from, or get an attorney. I mentioned Mermaid Charlotte, the mermaid lawyer. That's literally what she does. She does trademark law, and she does some other stuff. She'll help you start your business. She's amazing. I highly recommend her. But I'm sure there's also other attorneys. Talk to an attorney. Just ask some questions. Reach out to an insurance company. A lot of like generic, everyday insurance companies don't always um, insure mermaids. A friend of mine, she worked with Nationwide, and so like I reached out to her. I'm like, hey, do you guys do mermaids? And she's like, unfortunately, we don't do the fun stuff. So I learned, like, we started searching, and I found like entertainment insurance and performers, kind of. So there's companies like specifically that do those things, and they don't do all the things. Like they might not do water, or they might not do fire, or whatever. So you kind of just have to, there's a lot of Google searching, there's a lot of research that has to go. And I recommend, especially with something risky like mermaiding or with food, there's a reason I did not open up a cake shop. I don't want to deal with all of the laws and restrictions around food.
Yeah.
I've been trained in that, and I don't like, I won't even let my mermaids give out a, a wrapped piece of candy. I'm like, nope, no food. We're not touching it. I don't know. Like we're not gonna mess with that. There's allergies. There's too many things. We're not touching it. Um, so you kind of, whatever that creative aspect is that you are considering going into business for, research. There's so, I think one thing that affects, artists in particular a lot is trademark and you know, and copyrights, and just like you you can't just sell a picture of Ariel. Like that's you're stealing somebody's art, and Disney owns that art, and Disney has a lot of money for attorneys, and they will hunt you down and destroy your life. So you have to, you know, look into those things, and definitely with the different types of businesses and creative aspects, an attorney really is the best thing. Um, I think like with being at Wilton, we had an attorney team. So like they would stop us if we did something. And so they're like, no, no, no. Or we need, wait, we have to look into this kind of thing. So, and if we had questions, we could go to them, which was good. So like working for a bigger company, it's definitely like if you can do it, because you'll learn a lot, and you'll have access to people that might be expensive for an everyday person to have access to. So it's just a lot.
I don't blame you. Shoot, again, why are there so many restrictions? Just let us
Yeah,
have our
like
fun. Just let us have our fun.
yeah, it really, was cake and mermaids are the same. Like you just want to do, like, these are fun, happy things. You just want to do them, be happy and do them. And but there's just it's the real world. We're grown-ups. There's an adulting aspect. It's not all fun and games until someone stabs themselves in the eye with a cake skewer. It's always
Oh
there's
man.
there's cultures that smash the face in the cake, and a lot of cakes have wooden dowels in them so that you can stack. It's happened a few times. This wooden dowel in the eye. It's good. Not a good time.
I got you.
Yeah. So like you learn. Be careful.
Gotcha. Well, we're officially at the finale now. Recognition and purpose. So, you've received titles like Monarch of the Lake and Ocean Ambassador. What do these honors represent to you? And looking ahead, what do you want Mermaid Emily's legacy to be?
Awesome. So, with Monarch of the Lake and Ocean Ambassador, those are with Mermaid at Any Age, which I mentioned before. Like right now, we're on hiatus. Technically, right now, I'm also the president of the board. The founder is Mermaid Tiva. She's based out of California. We're on hiatus because she's been dealing with some health issues, and so hopefully, she'll be back soon. But we're not rushing it. She's got big goals, and I am all in to help make those things happen. And I kind of try to run my business also in a similar, in my the pod in a similar way. Like we have a few aspects of Mermaid at Any Age that we look at, and so there's like the safety aspect, which I've talked about a lot. Like we want to help encourage the community to grow safely, make sure people are swimming in their tails safe. And things of that nature. There's the environmental issue. Um, Being creatures from the sea, we're very tied to the environment that we come from. And so we want to promote, you know, being kind to the environment, using eco-friendly glitters, and AI is not our friend, kind of thing. Like I unfortunately am seeing a lot of AI art, which is cheap, but it's also, not doing good things for our water. My The suburb I live in just approved a data center, which I'm not excited about.
Mhm.
Um, so I probably will be looking into some protests. So there's that environmental aspect. And then there's also the diversity, equity, and inclusion aspect. Because Mermaid in general, and I see this constantly being a business owner, uh, people are very stuck in that skinny blonde mermaid. Um, that's the vision that they have. It's that and Ariel, who is also skinny redhead. Um, so they're not always as open to booking someone. Like even I'm a little too big for some clients, or so they're not as open to plus size. They're not as open to mermen. Um, I have seen kids kind of freak out. It's usually the moms that freak out if there's a merman in that tank. And it breaks my heart because I know that merman and he's amazing. And you're not even giving him a chance, kind of thing. But so there's a lot of that kind of discrimination. People aren't as open and accepting, especially for mermaids of color. Like it's the backlash that was around Ariel being black was insane. Like
Yeah, I
this is
saw it. Yeah, when they did The Little Mermaid, they all lost their goddamn minds
Yes,
over
and
that.
like these are grown men for the most part freaking out about a children's character. This is not even like this is a fictional being. Like people are always will like comment on my videos or something, be like fake. I'm like, no, really? Do you really think I know I'm a human being with two legs. I know this isn't real. Like duh. But it's not that serious. It's, being able to see yourself is a big deal. Well, yeah, there's not little girls out there with pink hair, but like I was always like, and I have more privilege than the more grow, I learned the privilege that I've had, but like, I'm always like, well, there's not any princesses with brown hair and blue eyes, like, because Belle has brown eyes, Ariel has red hair, like, but like that was still being able to see myself. Like, there's this whole race of people who weren't able to see themselves, and then when you see those faces of those little girls who see a black mermaid, and
Yes.
it's priceless. And I did have a mermaid of color on my team for a little while. And when a little girl, it was actually the festival that I'm doing tomorrow. She did that one with me a couple of years ago, and a little girl just ran straight to her. She was of color, and she saw a mermaid of color, and you could tell that that just made her everything. Like to see that, like it makes, I think, um, people who look like me, who, are white, and like we don't know these struggles. Um, I'm the gender that I appear, so I don't have those struggles. I don't relate to them. So people tend to get all angry about experiences that they don't understand. And so I feel like that trying to bring that out, and like I try to use the privilege that I have. I try to keep learning. Um, like there were words I didn't know were slurs, and I'm like, oh, and like I'll correct, I'll hold myself accountable, to my mistakes and learn from them. And like you just have to keep doing that. That's what I love about like the Pride community, the Alphabet Mafia. They're the best group of people, and I learn so much from them. And I am super excited for I have Pride festivals the next 3 weekends, and so like
Yes.
it's gonna be really fun. But yeah, I've got Ottawa, which is is not really considered a Chicago suburb. It's like the top of downstate. It is in a very red area. And the fact that they have this festival is a big deal. And the fact that this festival is so well received is a big deal. And that it's grown to the size that it has is a big deal. Because if you drive around those neighborhoods, you're going to see Trump flags. And we have a Democratic governor. His name is JB Pritzker. You'll see like
Oh
pets
yeah,
for
I've seen
sex.
I've seen him. I've seen him.
Yeah, yeah, and I've met him. He's so fun. Like when he was first running for governor, I have I wish I would have recorded this. My like it was when dabbing, was cool. And so my son was like elementary school age still, and he dabbed with JB Pritzker. And I'm like, I wish I had a picture of that. But like, and so people like, you know, it's a very red community, and to have such an a well received and high performing Pride Festival is showing growth, especially for like it's not really downstate Illinois, but it's like the top of down, for compared to Chicago, it's downstate Illinois. But it's a big sign of growth, which I'm very proud of them for. So I love that festival. And then the next one is Elmhurst, which is a traditional Chicago suburb. It's a little bit closer to the city. It actually happens at a church. So like having grown up in church environments, have seen churches be more, apologizing for the wrong and trying to make it right is a big, I'm very proud of them for that. And then the next one is Chicago, which I'm really excited for.
Or
And then
shoot.
like a lot of these suburbs, they spread them out as to not compete with each other since we have so many. So the next one I'll have is in September and then October. So like Pride runs from maybe I don't there might be some that start in late May and it goes through October. Like we do Pride, summer and fall.
There you go. That's some
Mhm.
interesting stuff. Well, shoot, make sure you send some pictures these next upcoming weekends so I can see.
Oh, I will. These are my favorite. I'm very excited. Tomorrow will be my first parade as a mermaid, and so that's a big deal. I will be riding on so Ottawa Pride is run by a company called Humankind Initiative. So I will be on the Humankind float, which is also the Grand Marshals will be on that float. And I don't know their names off the top of my head. I'm sure I will know them very well tomorrow, but they are two drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race. So if you look up Humankind Initiative, I'm sure, I think it was their Facebook page that I saw the pictures because a friend of mine is big into RuPaul's Drag Race. And I'm like, hey, do you know who these are? And she's like, oh, yes, they're great. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to ride on a float with them. So I'm very excited for that. It's going to be. And then after the parade, they'll take us to our little booth that we're gonna basically what I do is like I said, it's Santa. the kids will come to take their pictures with me. But like I showed, I have like these little fabric tails. I have a bunch that are kid size and different kid sizes. So the kids get to put on a mermaid tail. It has the monofin in it, so they get to see that. And so we'll even talk about that a little bit if they're talking to their parents about mermaid tails. So we make sure that the mermaid tail that they try on is safe. So they wear and they get to wear that for their picture, and they get to be a mermaid for their picture. And then I have a couple adult size tails that I bring as well. My very first tail is amongst that because it's a little more stretched out, and so people of bigger size can wear it. Um, and like it's got adjustable foot pockets, so they don't have to have tiny feet like I do. And so like I can even, I get so excited when the adults come and we'll put the mermaid tails on. And then I have tails that will fit like a baby because it's amazing when people will just bring me a baby and I'm like, "Yes, bring me the baby." And then I get even more excited when they bring me a dog. Just like bring me the puppy. I'll like see a dog like way over there and I'll be like, my daughter's name is Raven. I'll be like, "Raven, dog." So they'll bring me the dog and I'll be like, "Let's seal." And I've even put mermaid tails on a dog and it's the cutest thing ever. And I love it. It brings me so much joy and is the highlight of everything. And I go home exhausted, but it's like the good exhausted. I love it, and I will do it as long as I am physically able to.
There you go. Keep doing it, Emily. You're doing a great job. I think that kind of wraps up everything.
Okay.
Shoot,
Yes.
listen. I was trying to hang in there because after I did my first one, I was like, maybe I should have rested and took me a 30-minute nap. So I was hanging in here.
I
And
I
push.
don't blame you because yeah, that's kind of why I had to choose this time is because I start work at 6 o'clock in the morning. I work until 2, then I go home, then I put my face on, and like I have while I was doing that, I'm like making the list for my kids of okay, oh, this is what we need to pack, and so they've like I'm in my garage right now. They've been quietly loading the car of all the things.
That's fine.
Um, but yeah, it's a lot, and I'm ready to. The first thing I do when I'm done is I get like this thing off my head. Uh,
But you look great with it
yeah,
on.
yeah, I've noticed because I didn't glue it, so I'm like, oh, it's riding back a little bit, because I didn't glue the wig on. But I'm not going anywhere. So I love it. This is one of my favorite. I've had it for a really long time. I love this wig. Um, I used to dye my hair pink like this, but it doesn't do good in the water, so I started wearing wigs. But
Okay.
it's it's
Cool.
it's a good time. And yes, I'm ready for a nap.
There you
Tomorrow's
go.
gonna be a long day. I have to get up early and do
Well,
all the things.
it sounds like it's gonna be a fun time tomorrow.
It is, yes. And then I'm back to work on Sunday. I'm so excited.
Yeah.